Hello and welcome to the Bhagavatam. In some spiritual circles, it has become very popular to talk about the divine feminine. Women want to find the divine feminine within themselves. They want to find a man who embodies the divine masculine. The problem is our human weaknesses, our foibles, and our stupidity make us think of ourselves and others as not good enough. So we figure there must be some divine version in our higher self. This theory sounds great, but for the decades it's been around, there is very little evidence that anyone has found the holy grail that will fix all our problems. Just imagining that there is a divine version of ourselves that is perfect and wonderful in every way, that doesn't have the flaws and foolishness of our current human incarnation, is definitely pointing in the right direction. What we imagine does exist, but not the way we think or believe. To understand the divine feminine and masculine, we must first understand what it means to be divine. Where does divinity come from? Certainly not from some tantric goddess puja as practiced in the West, where women wear exotic clothes and jewelry and have men worship them. If changing our dress and having someone adoringly worship us could transform our egocentric, materialistic consciousness, then I'd be all for it. But from what I've observed, such superficial practices only drive us deeper and deeper into the illusions of this world. Uncovering our divinity requires austerity, study, and spiritual practices, sadhana. It takes work. It takes difficult things that we have to do. The easy path of taking a substance like ayahuasca, DMT, psilocybin mushrooms, LSD, or even shamanic or tantric practices won't unlock our real divinity in any lasting way. The true mystery of divine masculine and feminine was spoken about and revealed thousands of years ago by the sages of India in the Vedas. Today we'll dive deeply into the true meaning of these terms, where you can find the answers, and how you can attain these states of consciousness. Abrahamic religions generally speak of God as masculine. In Sanatana Dharma, which is incorrectly called Hinduism, the Vedic scriptures speak of God as masculine, feminine, and neither. Neither refers to Brahman, the unmanifest aspect of God that has no qualities, form, or attributes, and exists as pure energy, a field of infinite potential or possibilities. It is the undivided, undifferentiated, unmanifest, ultimate reality. It is Sat, which means eternal. It is Chit, which means conscious. And it is Ananda, meaning blissful. That one formless, unmanifest Brahman exists simultaneously. Now hear me very carefully. That one formless, unmanifest Brahman exists simultaneously as the manifest, personified form of Bhagavan, the Supreme Being, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that Bhagavan, that Supreme Godhead, in turn exists as two, masculine and feminine, Shaktiman and Shakti, the source and its energy or power. And just like wetness and water, sun and sunshine, fire and heat, these two, the masculine and feminine, are different yet inseparable. If you take away heat from fire, it will no longer be fire. If you take away wetness from water, it will no longer be water. and so on. They are simultaneously and inconceivably one and different, inseparable yet separate, having no material form and yet present to us in their transcendental spiritual forms. As the divine masculine Krishna takes on many forms, such as Vishnu, Narayan, Ram, Narsingha, Shiva, as also the divine feminine takes on many forms along with him, such as Lakshmi, Sita, Parvati, or Shakti, and so on. Together they are the divine couples, Lakshmi, Narayan, Ram and Sita, Shiva and Parvati, Radha and Krishna. So Bhagavan refers to the Supreme Being. In the Vedas, they don't use the word God. The way the word God has been used and abused to notate some person who is a controller, who punishes people and sends them to hell. That's not the Vedic version. The Vedic version is Bhagavan. That Supreme Being is also known as Paramatma, the Great Soul. From Paramatma, the Great Soul, the Infinite Soul, comes an infinite number of Jiva Atma, or infinitesimal souls. All of us, tiny, subatomic in size. That's why you don't see the soul, because it is infinitesimal. The Supreme Being, or Paramatma, or Bhagavan, is infinite. We, all of us living entities, that are considered to be 8,400,000 species, ranging from the devas or demigods known as Brahma and Indra down to the humans, animals, birds, insects, etc. So 8,400,000 species. And all of us are Jiva Atma. We are infinitesimal, minute, microscopic, less than microscopic even in size. And we are that spirit soul that is infinite. There are infinite numbers of us, but we are infinitesimal in size. So we have some of the qualities of God, but not the quantity. So there are different species. As you will see here. Now, does the formless, the unmanifest, exist first? And did the form or manifest come from it? This is a question that is often asked in spiritual circles, or rather declared by some groups of people. Some will say, no, the formless came first, and all the forms that came out, the divine forms of Radha and Krishna, Ram and Sita, all came out of the formless and will go back to the formless. And those who are Vaishnavas, the devotees of God, they will say, no, the form came first and the formless came from God. But we are human beings. We think in terms of time. We think in terms of beginning and end. We think in terms of start and finish. So the answer is a clear no. Both manifest and unmanifest, formless and form, existed eternally and simultaneously. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Think about that. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor in the future shall any of us ever cease to be. And that is because spirit is eternal. In fact, even Einstein had said it, that matter cannot be created or destroyed. Why is that matter cannot be created or destroyed? Because, in fact, matter is made of energy, and that energy is actually a divine energy that has taken a material form. But as such, its energy cannot be destroyed. So this applies all around. The Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas refer to Krishna as Bhagavan, or the Supreme Being. And Srimad Bhagavatam says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. This was Krishna and Arjun here speaking the Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. There are so many beautiful depictions of Krishna. The Brahma Samhita refers to him as Ishvara Parama Krishna, the Supreme Controller, the Supreme Godhead. And in the Bhagavad Gita, he himself declares, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. Aham sarvasya, I am sarvasya, everything. Prabhavo, that from which manifests everything. Mata sarvam pravartate. Everything comes from me. I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. So Krishna, the divine masculine, is Shaktiman, the source of energy. But without his Shakti or energy, he is not in the fullness of himself. A light bulb or a computer is useless without electricity. The most powerful and expensive car in the world is useless without some form of fuel. And a human cannot survive without food, water, and air. We have all had the experience that when we have no energy, we feel lifeless. And when we have energy, we feel energized. We become productive, resourceful, vibrant, and joyful. So Krishna, the Supreme Being, also has his energy, his Shakti, his power, his soul, his true self. And that is Radha. So Radha is the mystery, is the enigma. She is the feminine form of Krishna, the internal most aspect of him, the most intimate and powerful energy. Krishna has three kinds of energy: external energy, internal energy, and marginal energy. The external energy is this material manifestation, and we are all captivated by it, but it is not permanent or eternal. Then there is the internal energy. The internal energy is permanent. It is eternal. The spiritual world, that is eternal. We as spiritual beings are also eternal, but we have a choice. We are marginal energy because we have a choice. The individuated living entity can either be engulfed by Maya, the external energy, or can become part of the internal energy of Krishna. So as I was saying, Radha is the most intimate part of the internal energy. She possesses all attractiveness to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. So he is all attractive. He is the most attractive being. He possesses all knowledge, all fame, all beauty, all strength, all power, and all renunciation. He is all attractive because anyone who possesses even a slight measure or any extraordinary measure of any of these qualities, wealth, fame, beauty, or even renunciation, strength, becomes very attractive. But he possesses all of it simultaneously. And when someone is that incredible, well, they have to have someone who is their equal. And there is no one who is his equal except Radha, who is him just in a feminine form. So she possesses all attractiveness to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. She is referred to as Ahladini Shakti, or the pleasure potency of Krishna. Now, what's the secret behind that? And let's dive a little bit into this deeper meaning of why is she called the pleasure potency of Krishna. You see, we are all pleasure seekers. When there is no pleasure, we dry up and we lose all enthusiasm. Krishna comes to this world to give us pleasure. But he cannot give us anything unless he has Radha who gives him pleasure. And that pleasure then is what Krishna gives to all living entities when he appears in this world. As such, Krishna is nothing without Radha, and Radha is nothing without Krishna. They are two sides of the same coin. I hope you're getting this. They are two sides of the same coin. They are nothing without each other. They belong together just as heat and fire, just as water and wetness. I hope you're getting that. When Radha was asked, who is Krishna? She said, Mama eva paurasha rupam gopika manamohanam. Krishna is my masculine form who steals the minds of all the gopis. So Krishna is Radha's masculine form. And Radha, or Radha Rani as we call her, Queen Radha, is Krishna's feminine form. She is his feminine form and he is her masculine form. There is no Krishna without Radha and there is no Radha without Krishna. They are one soul in two forms, masculine and feminine. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 456, it is written, Radha Krishna Ek Atma. They are Ek Atma, one soul. Dui Dehadhari, they have taken two forms. Any Aniyone Vilase Rasa Aswadhan Kari. So why have they taken these two forms? So that they can engage in pastimes, loving affairs, and they can taste and relish the sweetness of each other's love. We've all been looking for this. We've all been looking for a soulmate. We've all been looking for someone who is our other half. We use these expressions, but we don't know where they come from. We have never found our other half. We have never met our soulmate. Every time we think we have, we end up being disappointed. But that is not the case here. We have within us an imprint that tells us the truth. The truth exists. But not here in this world, not in these human dealings, not in this male-female forms that we are right now in. Because today I'm male, tomorrow I might be female. Today someone is female, tomorrow they might be male. These things keep changing. We are tiny, infinitesimal spirit souls, but we have within us the imprint of the truth. We seek happiness because that's what lies within us in our soul. We seek love because that's what lies within us. And we seek soulmates because that's who our true beloved is, because that is who God is. Radha and Krishna are one and the same, but they have assumed two forms. Thus they enjoy each other, tasting the mellows of divine love. The internal energy of Krishna is purely spiritual in nature. It is known to have the qualities of eternality or sat, consciousness or chit, and blissfulness or ananda. Radha is the most intimate part of this internal energy. What emerges when the observer experiences the observed is ananda or bliss. That ananda shakti or haladini shakti is Srimati Radharani. Three energies may be divided and spoken about separately, Sat Chit Ananda, but in fact they are no different from each other. They are in a dance with each other. The impersonalist experiences this as an inner bliss, but the devotee of God, the lover of God, experiences it as an invitation to enter the dance of divine love. Srimati Radharani, or Radha, is the mother of the universe, the spiritual mother of all souls. She is our eternal guru, our eternal mother. And the concept of mother is the most sacred symbol, that of purity, selflessness, caring, sharing, nurturing, and love. And that is all the qualities that Radha Rani stands for. It is said that Krishna ever rarely looks at his reflection of his form in the mirror. He who attracts everyone even finds himself to be supremely attractive. One day when he saw himself in the mirror, he began to decorate that form with beautiful ornaments and clothes. From that form emerged the most captivating form of Radha, Krishna bowed down and welcomed her, saying, when I appeared as Mohini, and I'll go back over those pictures for you in the story a little bit later. When I appeared as Mohini, all the devas were enchanted by me. So Krishna took a feminine form once as Mohini, and all the devas, the demigods, were enchanted by him. But he says, at that time, I did not get to the experience. I did not get to experience. So let me show you the picture as well. Might as well. So he appeared as Mohini, and these were all the devas and all the asuras too. They would all come there to get this nectar. And then, of course, she tricked the asuras and gave it all to the devas, the demigods. So he says here, I thought to myself, when will I, who attract everyone, be attracted to someone who captures my heart and fills me with ecstatic love? See now, he who is the most beautiful had taken the form of a woman, Mohini, and all the devas, the demigods, the most powerful of beings in the universe, were besotted with her beauty, wanted her, lusted over her, desired her. Even Shiva, who is completely detached, completely in control of his senses, lost control of his mind and senses in that Leela, in that pastime. Shiva never loses himself, but this was part of the Leela, the pastime between them. So Mohini was the enchantress. And now Krishna is thinking, at that time, I enchanted everyone. I thought to myself then, when will I, who attract everyone, be attracted to someone who captures my heart and fills me with ecstatic love? In the universe, I have established dharma, religion, knowledge, renunciation, but I have not been able to bring true divine love or prema. For that I need you to manifest, O Radha. You are my Shakti, my power, my soul. Of course, these are pastimes. Radha is eternally existent. And yet, there are these wonderful ways in which they deal with each other. The soul of Krishna is Radha, the most powerful, most beautiful manifestation of God is Radha. Krishna and Radha are no different. People often ask, why did they never get married? To get married, there must be two people, and then two become one. Radha and Krishna are one soul in two eternal forms. Our main goal is to please Radha. As devotees, as lovers of God, our main goal is to please Radha. I'll tell you why in a little bit. Those who worship Vishnu are called Vaishnavas. Those who worship only Krishna are called Karshneyas. But those who are devoted to worship Param Gauri, Srimati Radha Rani, are called Gaudiyas. So we are of that school, which are lovers of Radha. To me, ever since I learned about Radha and her incredible qualities and who she really is, it changed my spirituality overnight. I came across wonderful devotees in Vrindavan, and then I read about Radha's pastimes with a whole new vision, and I began to understand something that I had not understood for a long time of being on this path. You see, even Shukdev, who speaks the Srimad Bhagavatam, even Vyas, who writes it, doesn't speak of Radha because she is the most intimate aspect of God. And if you do not listen from the right source, and if you do not understand properly, and if you are not the person who truly has an open mind and an open heart to understand, you can distort all of this and completely twist it around in a way that will be damaging to your own spiritual life. Now, in the 8th canto, we talked about that. This was the Prince of Mohini. So, yes, now that same Leela, when all the devas had lusted over Mohini, the form of Vishnu that had appeared, or Krishna that had appeared as a woman, one of them, and only one of them, that was Suryadev, the sun god, had, instead of lusty feelings towards her, had felt parental affection And she had turned to him in that moment and said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yes, I want you as my daughter. A form of beauty that destroys kama or lust and awakens unconditional love." Mohini had said to him at that time, "This form of mine is very rare and difficult to perceive. However, if you perform," see, the form that he's asking for, the form that destroys kama or lust and awakens unconditional love. So Mohini had said to him at that time, "This form is very rare and difficult to perceive. However, if you perform austerity, if I am pleased with your devotion, I will come to you as a daughter who will captivate even the most beautiful Mohini." Surya then did lots of austerities and finally appeared on earth as Brishabhanu, the father of Radha. In the Padma Puran it says, on a full moon night, King Brishabhanu came to the holy Yamuna river to bathe. Suddenly he found himself engulfed in a golden aura of pure love. It was radiating from a radiant and fully blossomed lotus. On which lay an exquisitely beautiful baby girl. With intense glee, the king embraced the divine infant and carried her off to his queen Kirtida. When Kirtida, his wife, saw her husband with this magnificent child, she ran over and showered little Radha with unrelenting affection. But the king and queen quickly noticed that the baby's eyes would not open. This naturally broke their hearts, and they prayed that God might bless her with the power of sight. Baby Krishna's mother, so now Krishna was also a baby, he had also taken birth. He was in a different town called Vrindavan, and Radha was in Varsana. So when baby Krishna's mother, Yashoda, heard that her best friend Kirtida also had a baby, she came to visit, along with her husband and her son Krishna. Krishna crawled up to the cradle where Radha was, pulled himself up, and looked in. Now remember, Radha had not opened her eyes, and it had been a long time. I don't know, some say a few years. At that moment, baby Radha's eyes fluttered and opened wide and blossomed like lotuses. She opened her eyes for the first time. It seems that she did not want to see anything of this world. She would only open her eyes to see the moon-like face of her beloved Sri Krishna. Radha paused as she gazed upon his lovely form. Krishna was overwhelmed with love as he saw before him his eternal consort in the guise of a baby. And of course, everybody was delighted. In this way, the eternal divine couple go about meeting each other as they appear time and again in the material world. As they grow in years, they play with loving friends and swim in the Yamuna river. They relish each other's loving embrace. That's Krishna. Sacred texts and realizations of the sages elaborate on the details, establishing narratives that serve as virtual magnets, attracting all who hear them back to the spiritual realm. So much beauty here. The Vedas draw a sharp distinction between love of God and what passes for love between ordinary human beings. This is how it's been written by or explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj, the poet who wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, the desire to gratify one's own senses is called kama or lust. You might have heard of the Kama Sutra. That's what it comes from, kama. So the desire to gratify one's own senses is kama. But the desire to please the senses of the divine, Krishna and Radha, is love or prema. Therefore, lust and love are quite different. Lust is like dense darkness, but love is like the bright sun. See, all of us have within us this inkling that we want love. We want everlasting love. We want pure love. We want love that does not betray us. We want love that will always be with us. We want eternal love. Even have it in the vows that people say to each other when they get married, till death do us part, because that's as far as they can imagine. But when you want to talk about eternal love, that's what we really want, then that love cannot be with another human. That is divine love. And that divine love is pure love. It is selfless love. It is about the pleasure of the beloved. It is not about what's in it for me. It's not about gratifying my senses. It's not about what can I get from you. Those are all materialistic ways of love. Those are all the ways of exploitation. Those are all the ways of fulfilling my needs. I have my needs and you're not fulfilling my needs. Therefore, I'm going to leave you and find somebody else in the hope that they'll fulfill my needs. But that is called kama or lust. It's okay. It's a part of the Vedas. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the four ways of living in this world. We live here. This is part of this human cycle. That we will engage in dharma, some kind of duty, some kind of responsibility, maybe a job, maybe work. It can also mean religion. It can mean many things. But dharma, artha, that we need to make money. We need to live in this world. And we have kama. When we make money, we want to enjoy our senses. But finally, when we've gone through all these three, and we realize that we're still not happy, we're still not fulfilled, this is still not it. No matter how much money I made, no matter how much I enjoyed my senses, no matter how many different, attractive people I was with, and no matter how many wonderful foods I tasted, no matter how many great places I went to, there's still an emptiness within me. There's still a longing for more. And when you become honest with yourself, you realize, I need something more. There's something greater. My soul is prompting me towards a greater reality, and this world is not fulfilling me in that. That is when we realize what we're looking for is prema. Prema is divine love. Prema is eternal love. Prema is love of God. Our original nature is to dwell in the bright sun of love of God, love of Krishna in the spiritual world. That is our original nature. That is the imprint within our soul. But somehow we become envious of Krishna in his position as the supreme enjoyer. And now we want to become the enjoyer. And that's called envy. And with that envy, our love for him turns to lust. And we enter into the darkness of the material world. You see, we don't want just that God is enjoying us. We don't want to be enjoyed. We want to enjoy. We want to become the enjoyer. And that is why we're here in this world. So that we may enjoy. Go right ahead. By all means, have this world. Go for it. And then see where it leads you. See how it's going. And then evaluate. Am I fulfilled? Am I satisfied? Am I happy? Are my cravings met? So he says, thus it is lust that brings us to this world of forgetfulness of God, lust that keeps us here, and lust that prevents us from knowing Krishna as our eternal master, guide, friend, and lover. Only when we transmute that lust back into love for God, or Krishna, can be realized that we are his eternal servants and that our real happiness lies in serving his senses and not our own. I gave the example last week that my finger cannot enjoy by itself. If I cut it off, it cannot enjoy by itself. It needs to be reconnected with my body, and it needs to serve the body by feeding food or scratching when there is an itch. And when the finger gives pleasure to the whole, to the body, then the body enjoys and the finger enjoys as well. We are parts of God, tiny little parts of God, tiny little beings on this planet. And when we start giving pleasure to God, and we start thinking in terms of how can I please you rather than please myself, then what happens is by giving him pleasure, by giving her pleasure, we receive unlimited amounts of pleasure within ourselves. Our giving needs to be selfless, not conditional. It needs to be unconditional. And then the magic happens. So bhakti yoga, or devotional service, changes lust into love of God. The first step to getting there is hearing the name of Krishna, as in the Krishna mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra, and hearing the teachings about Krishna given through the revealed scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. But most important is that we hear from the right source. Who's the right source? A pure devotee of God. What does pure mean? Someone who has no ulterior motive, neither for fame or wealth, nor trying for enjoyment, nor anything of a personal nature, whose desire is purely to serve. And such people are rare and hard to find. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada writes, it is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that by hearing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, one can get rid of all material lust. If, however, one does not hear from the right source, one may misinterpret these pastimes, considering them to be ordinary affairs between a man and woman. In this way, one will be misguided. Now, we'll tap into a little bit into our previous episode, which was about the Rasa Leela, the circle dance of love. As we mentioned earlier, Radha or Radharani is the feminine form of Krishna, and she is far more merciful, more beautiful, and powerful than Krishna. She performs many divine leelas or pastimes with Krishna, and she is the queen of Vrindavan. Vrindavan is this beautiful little town near Delhi, New Delhi, India. And of course, now it's become very crowded with people. When I used to go there first, it was just such an incredibly quaint place. It could walk around barefoot. It was the ground was like sand. And it was just incredibly beautiful everywhere. But in the spiritual world, that is where Radha and Krishna reside. That is what they come to. They send a portion of that into this material world and then perform their leela and pastimes here on earth. And when you go there, you feel that energy. You feel it even till today. 5,000 years later, you feel that energy in Vrindavan. So of all such narratives and all such pastimes in Vrindavan, performed by Radha and Krishna, the Rasa Leela, the dance of love described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, is in many ways the most important. Now, once again, if you haven't watched it, please watch the earlier episode before this one. The divine dance of Rasa Leela takes place one moonlit autumn night when the cowherd maidens or the gopis of Vrindavan, upon hearing the sound of Krishna's flute, sneak away from their families to be with him. The Rasa Leela is considered one of the highest and most esoteric of Krishna's revealed pastimes, and it should never be confused with mundane pastimes of prurient interest. Accordingly, Vaishnava commentators make one thing perfectly clear. Romantic love between human beings is a diminished, compromised reflection of the soul's original ecstatic love for God or Krishna in the spiritual world. Studying the Rasa Leela under a bona fide spiritual master allows one to realize this as tangible truth. It also allows one to develop love for God, just as the gopis do in their dance of love. In short, the theology of Radha is deep. The theology of the divine feminine. She is the highest aspect of the divine feminine, and one who studies her qualities, her pastimes, her dealings with Krishna through the many, many books that exist on this topic, such a person can advance very deeply. But more than anything, one who is able to get the mercy of Radha can easily attract Krishna. The scriptures describe that one must go through many lives of pious acts, religious rituals, and yogic perfection before attaining the mercy of Radha. But when one does, Krishna is not far off. In fact, it is through Radha's mercy that Krishna becomes attainable. Radha is Krishna's mercy incarnation, and through her, one can attain the culmination of the spiritual pursuit. Srila Prabhupada sums this up as follows. He says, Radharani, you are so dear to Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Radharani is Hari Priya, very dear to Krishna. Through the mercy of Radha, we can easily approach Krishna. If Radha recommends, this devotee is very nice, then Krishna accepts such a person, despite their foolishness or lack of qualification. We all are in that boat. We are all foolish, and we all lack qualification. Therefore, we need Radha's mercy. So he says, therefore in Vrindavan you will find devotees chanting Radha's name more than Krishna's. In fact, even the guy who will come around on the bicycle, he'll be ringing, instead of ringing his bell, because there's so many crowds and so many people, he'll be just saying, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, and people know that and they walk to the side and make room for the bicycle or the bicycle rickshaw that is coming through. Pretty much everyone greets each other in Vrindavan with Radhe Radhe. That's how they greet each other. You might want to try it yourself. The name of Radha is very, very powerful. To this day, you will find devotees in Vrindavan glorifying Radha in these ways. Radha is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the supreme whole, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. She is the divine feminine personified. Therefore, the mercy of Radha is available very readily to sincere devotees. And once she recommends such a devotee to Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. So, let's look deeper now. Oh, by the way, I didn't show you some wonderful pictures that I had here of the Rasa Leela, the divine dance. We were busy talking, so I guess missed out on that. But that's the Rasa Leela. And in this dance, Krishna expands himself so that he can be with each of the gopis. There are hundreds of gopis. Some say thousands, some say millions. But he was with each of them. He had expanded himself to as many forms as there were gopis. And each of them thought that Krishna is only with me. And that's Radha and Krishna in the Rasa Leela. He said that if you go by the speculative process and try to understand Krishna, it will take many, many lives. But if you take to the devotional service, bhakti yoga, and try to please Radha, then Krishna will be gotten very easily. Radha can give us Krishna. She is the ultimate Mahabhagvat, means the most highly advanced devotee. Although Krishna says, Vedaham samatitani, I know everything, yet he fails to understand the devotion of Radha. She is so great. For this reason, Krishna incarnated 500 years ago as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so that he could be in the mood of Radha and experience her love for him, while at the same time bestowing the highest mercy of love of God or prem on others. The chief manifestation of that mercy is the holy name in the form of the Maha Mantra. I don't know if you've heard this mantra, but let's see. The mantra goes like this. Hare Krishna. So the word Hare is called the vocative form of Hara, which is another name for Radha. This is a prayer that calls on Radha. This Mahamantra is a spiritual call for the Supreme Being Krishna and his beloved Radha to protect the conditioned soul like the cry of a child for its mother. Mother Hara or Radha helps the devotee achieve the grace of the Supreme Father Hari or Krishna, and the Supreme Lord reveals himself to the devotee who chants this mantra sincerely. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's do it one more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radha is the medium through which such service is enacted. And she embodies devotion, the essence of divine love for the Supreme Godhead, Sri Krishna. This is Radha. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita it is said, the glory of Radha's name is such that simply by vibrating the sound Ra, every fiber of Krishna's body is filled with nectarine bliss. And on hearing the sound Dha, he chases after the person who vibrates this name with great reverence. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam that one who hears the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis, that is the cowherd girls of the spiritual world, of whom Srimati Radharani is the foremost, whoever hears these pastimes will attain the highest platform of devotion and love of God and will be freed from lust that overwhelms everyone's heart in the material world. In other words, by hearing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, one can get rid of all material lust. Unless one hears from the right source, however, one will misinterpret these pastimes. Okay, so we've talked about that before. So I'd love to know your thoughts. You've been listening for a while. You've been very patient. You've come all the way to this point. And I'd love to know what you think. Have you been listening to the Leela up till now? Have you been hearing the different pastimes up till now? These are some of those beautiful moments on those pastimes. As Radha and Krishna are on a swing, there's so much to tell you. There's so much to learn. There's so much to know. Here is Krishna combing Radha's hair. And while he's combing her hair, she's looking at him. She can't get her eyes off him. And he is just so completely devoted to her. Here's another picture of them as he's putting flowers in her hair, decorating her hair. Here they are again together. Presently, in most of the temples in ISKCON, they are having what is called the Jhulan Yatra, the swing festival, just like this. They are called little deities of Radha and Krishna, and everybody gets the chance to swing them. Go to a temple near you and see for yourself. And these are the little naughty pastimes in which Krishna goes and he'll spill the milk that they're carrying for their families and then demand a toll. No, you have to give me a toll. You have to give me a kiss. Then I won't upset the milk that you're carrying. But otherwise, I'm going to play all these little games. And here is Radha having all the emotions that we have as human beings: upset, shy, sometimes angry with him. And then he'll come and he'll pacify her, and he'll want her to be okay, because he can't stand the thought of her being upset with him. So many beautiful things to read about, so many beautiful things to learn. I would love for you to ask questions. I would love for you to read further. There are so many books on this subject and so many ways that you can learn. Immerse yourself in this. Dive deeply into it. I've only touched the surface. I am very unqualified to tell you about this. I know so little. The little I know, I've tried to share. Please forgive me if I've made any mistakes. Please forgive me if I've said anything wrong. This is my little humble attempt to try and share what has been my greatest inspiration for the last 30, 40 years. So please ask any questions. I'd be happy to learn. I have Bharti asking a question here. Thank you so much for your question. You bring it up on screen. We need to bring it down the middle. She's asking, who did you say Krishna appeared as 500 years ago? Great question, Bharati. Thank you for paying attention. The person who appeared 500 years ago was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Bengal, West Bengal. And he's predicted in the Vedas, in the Bhagavatam, as Krishna appearing in the Kali Yuga. So earlier Krishna appeared in Dwapar Yuga, which was 5,000 years ago. Then 500 years ago, he appears as Chaitanya. He comes in the mood of Radha. It is Krishna in the mood of Radha, wanting to experience what does she feel, how much love she has for me. I have no way to understand it. So he incarnates as Radha and Krishna in one form. His outer form is masculine, but his inner form is entirely feminine. He is feeling her feelings. He is going to the places where they did their pastimes. He is remembering those pastimes. He is telling others about them. And he is deeply immersed in feeling her bhav, her mahabhav, her great ecstasies. And he himself goes into deep ecstatic rapture. That is something that we may get even a little tiny glimpse of it, but he experiences it to the fullest degree. Tears rolling from his eyes, his body quivering in ecstasy. Such incredible phenomena are described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Krishna wants to know, why does Radha love me so much? What is it she sees in me? How can I experience that? You know how difficult it is in a relationship to know why someone loves you so much. You may not understand it. Whether that's your child or whether that's your partner or lover or friend. You don't know. You can't see yourself. You're not in the same way. So that is why he appears. And he comes for a second reason as well. He comes to give us the antidote, the medicine for the times that we live in. We live in a time where everybody is very troubled, where there is much of chaos and confusion and war, where there is so much of hypocrisy and dissension and conflict. And he brings us the medicine for this time, the process that is required in this time. In ancient times, people sat and they meditated for long durations of time. Often at the end of their life, they'd go to a forest and they'd meditate there. Today we can't. Those forests have been cut down. Those forests have been paved over in so many countries and so many places. Those forests are now filled with all kinds of people who you can't trust will be dignified and respectful. And we have grown up in big cities and have no training on how to be in such places. So he's given us a very, very simple process. The Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This mantra is not something to do with some people think it's some cult, some people think it's some, certain newfangled thing that has come up. No, it's not. It is a very ancient mantra. It is a very ancient process that has been around thousands of years, has been revived by Sri Chaitanya for us in this time. Why? Because it is a call to Radha. Hare is Radha. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada says one should chant it like a child crying for its mother. Mother Radha, oh Mother Radha, help me. Help me arise from the chaos of this world, from the chaos of my mind, and help me come closer to your beloved Krishna, and to love both of you, and to serve both of you. To become your maidservant, to become your sakhi, to become your manjari, to become your dasi. These are all places of deep humility and wanting to serve the divine. How may I serve you, my dear Radha? So these are the incredible teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are in books called Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are also others, Chaitanya Bhagavat. There are so many books, and the great acharyas like Rupa Goswami wrote so many wonderful books on this divine love. So I've touched only a tiny, tiny little fragment of that. I hope that you will be inspired to read further. We'll be continuing in the next few episodes with the Bhagavatam. If you have any more questions, please ask now. I'd love to hear from you. If you're listening to this later on, then please write your comments in either Instagram if you're there or on YouTube. I do try to reply to all comments. My main, or the entire body of work is on YouTube. So if you're not familiar with my channel, please go there and subscribe and check it out. I've done about 95 videos, I think, by now on the Srimad Bhagavatam and about another 18 to 20 on the Bhagavad Gita. You can learn all about this Vedic wisdom, this most incredible wisdom, this most incredible path of divine love. If you are interested in that, there's a lot to learn. And I hope that you will check it out. So look, you can type in either my name, Rohit Juneja, or let me put it up on the screen so you can see for yourself. Or you can type in Spiritual Wisdom Academy. That'll take you there as well. But those things can change sometimes. The title of the site, you can always find it under my name. And I'll be glad to answer your questions. I'm here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. And if you're in India, then so that's on Tuesdays. And if you're in India, then it'll be Wednesdays at 8 or 7:30 a.m. So I look forward to connecting with you again in the next live stream and video. And I hope you'll check out the other videos as well. Have a wonderful night. Hare Krishna. And do begin reading, chanting, and learning more. Okay? All right. I'll see you the next time.